when they start to come in. Okay, let's get things going. A little early, but they'll be fine.
They'll be surprised.
Yeah, they will. They'll be shocked. Why are you early? When you start to come in. Okay. We're live. We'll wait till chat gets to a certain amount and then we'll go into stuff. So we were in here last night doing a show and they all know you're coming. So okay. John, you can see that on the right? Chat.
Oh, okay. Yes, I see chat's loading.
Yeah. So no, that's where they'll post questions and stuff too. So it should be interesting. So get into this. And then I think we can start. You can go ahead and introduce yourself and what you do and all that stuff and where you're going in the future and how you're serving humanity.
Okay, sure. So my name's Xan John, short for Alexander. I live in Louisiana, and I will be running for United States Senate next year in 2026 to replace Bill Cassidy. He's a huge rhino. He voted to impeach Trump. And so that's what I said in 2020 when I ran against him the first time. And when I was right about all my predictions about COVID being a complete scam, just ahead of my time, and plan on becoming an attorney here in about 2 years, if all goes well in Texas and Florida. So thank you so much for having me on the show. Excited to be here. It's my second time on your show.
Yeah, it was, I just thought of it the other day and I was like, I'm gonna have to bring him back on because, the last show we did was pretty good and we got into some in-depth conversations on stuff. So I thought it'd be a good one. And I wanted to know where you're at on things because I knew that you were never going to give up and you were going to go forward on everything.
That's extremely kind. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So why don't you start with your story, young, developing into where you are today and how you got there? Because
I come from a long history of oil and gas production here in the state of Louisiana. So, that's all I knew since the day after I graduated high school. So I had an 11-year career to the day. Now, I was fired for raising questions and not being okay with the fact that guys that I worked with in the field were blown up and killed, and another guy who got his leg blown off in Hackberry. And so everyone else around the company, it was so weird because it was such a learning curve for me in life. They didn't care at all that anyone died, that the bodies were, washed off, the body parts that were blown to pieces, hosed off and thrown into the ocean, and just lies to the families told. And I'm like, oh my God, these guys I work with, I was freaking out. And guys that were at the same company were running over there and covering up the scene and then lying to insurance and things like that. And so I knew I always, deep down inside, wanted to find a way to spin off and become an attorney and eventually be a senator. That was always just a goal I had since I was a child. So I just didn't know it would happen like this. So what happened was I was approached one day in the corporate headquarters, told to sign these papers, and paid a bunch of money to leave. And I didn't want to take it at first. They gave me 5 minutes to just calm myself, collect myself, and call my family. And they're like, you better take that money and all this shit. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so on my way home, driving home from Houston to Lafayette, which is about 3.5 hour drive, no traffic, enrolled into LSU to do my last year of pre-law because I only had 3 years of college before that. And then I went to law school. And I got into law school in Miami. And then 1 year in, good grades, everything, doing well, super popular, big deal. Not that that matters, especially in higher education. I'm simply saying I get accused of a crime. My girlfriend and I were sleeping in bed in the law school dorm, and someone called the cops apparently and said that Xan was beating his girlfriend or something. So cops bust in, wake us up, arrest me. Man, well, when I tell you it was so smooth on their end, and there's no chest cam footage to, there's no crime, there's no nothing. Of course, it was all expunged and everything. It was dismissed, expunged. I've been exonerated by DeSantis. I'll get to that in a minute. But the point I'm trying to say is, when you get kicked out of law school, it's super hard to get back in because every law school wants to know why. And they ask if you think you get into the nitty gritty about things. I promise you. And this is no insult to anyone or anything. The bar associations and law schools ask things on a level so shockingly deep, and you have to come up with these answers that they'll ask, or you will not get in. It's mind blowing. And so anyway, so I get arrested, and then you're always told never speak to cops. I tried to speak to the police officer twice. Slammed the door in my face. Thank God that's still on chest cam. Sent all that to DeSantis, and because I was like, what the hell just happened? And oh wow, okay. I'm having a family emergency in about 10 minutes. My dad's gonna be here. So I might have to cut this short and we do another one, but I'm going to keep on going. Just FYI, I just got a message. He never texts me like that. So just heads up.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'll get back to that in a minute. But so yeah. And so, okay. So I was kicked out of law school. Okay. So I was living in Florida, and then I had to go all the way back to Louisiana. And it took me 4 years to get exonerated from that crime and 4 years to get back into law school. And anyway, so that was 2020. And okay, so and now I'm back in law school. So that's like my academic work and academic. Now, as far as politics, in 2020, when they launched the whole COVID scam, I just knew it wasn't right. And I really thought, as I guess things were locking down and a couple people starting to wear masks, I guess, late February, early March 2020, I really thought, nah, people are going to not believe this. People are going to, I was waiting for the rejection of all this agenda to become more prevalent. And it never came around. And people that I looked up to, people that I thought were smarter and better than me, were, on their third jab and wearing, 2 masks on. I'm like, how are you? I'm like, just because a million people say, something dead wrong doesn't make it right. And so I saw people break under pressure. I was so butthurt about being charged with a felony and the COVID agenda. I said, screw this. June of 2020, I ran for United States Senate, ran against Bill Cassidy for the first time. And it proved, and here's another thing too, is all these senators, these rhinos, they never thought the shoe was going to be on the other foot. So they went and impeached Trump. They pushed the COVID vaccine, and you got a lot of people about to be purged on the midterms.
Yep.
And so we're going to see a second wave of America First. And something that I warn everyone is we cannot go back to sleep. Now, I'm pretty sure this demographic tuning in gets it. So I'm sorry, I'm preaching to the choir. But anyway, I could keep going on forever. But I was, big time anti-lockdown, pro-Trump. But I don't want to sit here and keep on going off on a jag. This is your show. So.
No, we're good. Just keep going the way this is about you today. So your story.
Oh, that's it. I know, really. Look, I mean, you can about imagine. I'm a guy who loves my country, doesn't fight my intellectual instincts. I knew the whole COVID jab was a complete joke. It was all about, even the WHO is saying, oh yeah, well, the masks and jabs don't really do anything. But aren't you glad we still lock down anyway? And they try and sell it. It's just this sadistic, it's the ethos of the left. They don't care if everyone is locked down and we have to wear a mask and we're all miserable, so long as you do it too. That's their whole ethos,
Right.
At least the useful idiots. And so they don't care if everyone on earth is poor and just, living off a couple grains of rice a day, so long as everyone is. And there's no one else doing good, beautiful wife, nice house, swimming pool, SUV. So they come from a standpoint of self-hatred, and it's horrible. Also, too, there's a lot of very smart people tied up in that demographic that just can't admit they were wrong, and that's what really hurts. Is we're seeing a lot of good wasted human resources, human energy. There's a lot of smart people. I mean, there are good people out there that just can't admit they were wrong, and doctors, attorneys, and they just side with the government or side with their cognitive dissidents, and it really hurts, but I mean, there's no going back now, and it's nothing personal to them. But, I could really take this in a billion different directions. If you want to just maybe refine the scope a tad bit, I hate sitting here just rambling. I do not want to bore your crowd.
No, they're fine. I mean, the thing about it is everybody starts at a certain point, and there's always this moment that wakes us up in a different way and says, I'm going to serve
a fork in the road. Yes.
I mean, and then you have this calling that's telling you, I'm not taking this. I'm not gonna follow the sheep crowd. I'm gonna take my own path, my own way.
Least resistance always gets you in a bind. What's it saying? The path to hell is paved with good intentions. It's always for your safety. It's always, for the benefit of children. It's always, what I'm saying? You got, I think there's an illustration too with that, not parable or saying, but I mean, yeah, they're always going to have a fig leaf, a veil, a veneer of something that is, quasi wholesome, that you're not allowed to question. They're always going to do that, because they can't. They're not like people like you and I that are blunt. Like if we have a problem, we're gonna, stab you from the front. We're gonna
Right.
at two brutes, like, we're coming. Yeah, but they're all gonna, it's gonna be a committee, and they're gonna send you an email, and it's gonna, and trust the experts say, which experts, no expert. You can't question that. Censor him.
Yes, exactly. Well, they didn't like the
Anyway.
emails they got from Elon Musk and the DOGE, and I mean, now they're freaking out. They can't even answer 5 questions because it's on the other.
Yeah, but they're all. What I worry about too is the enemy has a vote. So yes, they're not completely stamped out, and I just wonder how are they all going to organize all the people that have been misplaced from the federal government, because those people are going somewhere and they are filled with hatred. So I don't know what subreddits they're on, or I don't know what kind of things they're doing, but I promise you, they're all clamoring to strike us back or whatever, and they're going to get the green light and have no accountability because of all the. Not saying anyone should give up or anything. I'm just saying, like I just think about it. Like we were all displaced during COVID. What did we do? Started podcasts, ran for office, go to law school, whatever, and get get involved in constructive activities, right? Well, all these people are going to get involved in destructive activities, and so what are these elites going to do? And I hate calling them elites, but I'm just going with the term that's predominant. With a whole bunch of these useful idiots with a whole bunch of time in their hands.
A bunch of time, but they don't have no more money. That's the problem.
No, well, they haven't. Okay, the U.S. aid has just been called out, and it's slowly being cut off. They still have, I mean, money coming to all these crazy NGOs, and we're still paying an unjust, unconstitutional income tax. I mean, it's almost tax season in another month, and it's like, to what, for a federal government that can print all the money at once anyway. So I mean,
well, I think it's everything's being looked at in a different way. I mean, I even have my accountant that he's like, stuff is still changing with the IRS, and they're not telling us anything, but things are.
A lot of cards are thrown up in the air, so they don't even know what tax code they're going to follow. My brother's a tax attorney, and yeah, it's just like, I mean, we're in such a inflection point. And if we don't abolish the Federal Reserve, if we don't get rid of the IRS and all this stuff, I mean, it's nice. I hear all this, I call it, cotton candy and popcorn. You can chew on it, but it really doesn't leave you with anything. The abolishing, Trump abolishing tax for people making 150 or less, whatever. That's great, but like, okay, while we're at it, just abolish the damn IRS. Revoke the charter of the 1913 Federal Reserve, which is a private bank. It's like, just if things like that don't happen, this administration, I mean, I just don't see them happening.
Right. I mean, they have a short time to get things transferred over to a different process. And that's why, I mean, they're working day and night for a reason. These guys are not taking Saturday and Sunday off. They're bowling through everything they can, because they only have.
Yes, I'm very grateful. Yeah. I don't want to seem like I'm ungrateful. I'm so excited. We won this last election. And I just want to see so much. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know I sound like I'm bitching, but no. I am very grateful.
Yeah. So I mean, and this is the thing, and even Trump knows that all he has to say is one word: man up, and he'll have his own army, and he knows it too. There's not much they can do. Like, I mean, the whole thing. Well, what happened in Washington, and he was up at the podium literally calling them out, and they didn't care. I mean, they didn't care about anything that was sympathetic towards kids or anything. Or
oh, okay. The other day when he addressed Congress, and DJ, the little black boy with the brain tumors and stuff, he's precious, by the way. So shout out to DJ. I think you're the man, and he was all humble about it too. He didn't even get all buck or crazy or try and sell T-shirts after. Like, DJ just wants to be a good old police officer, and I think he's great.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, the left, the mask is off. But the thing is they don't care, and I mean their basis. I mean, everything's been polarized already, so it's not like everyone's just clinging to their side. It's either there's two versions of reality. So the world's been, or at least this nation has been successfully split in two, and it's who's going to prevail, because you have two schools of thought that cannot continue. We cannot they cannot continue with Trump being president and that kind of Western Christian Judeo ethos. And then, and we can't continue with all the they, them, these, I, child mutilation, and
yeah, that has to end, and we have nothing left. And that's the thing. I mean,
I'm very sorry. This is very rude of me. I've got to go. However, please get with me. We will do another episode whenever you want. I have to go.
Okay.
I'm so sorry to everyone too. It is my fault. I don't know how to.
Okay. So we'll continue with some more discussions of the government. Right. So
that's okay. Things happen.
Yes, they do. So why he's discussing with everything going on, and I this is the whole process of this is there's such a dismantling process going on, and this is like with the cities in that process. You can tell that it's happening. You can tell that they're getting ready to the White Hats are just getting ready to lock them up, isolate them, and put them in a certain area. And they're pushing them to a certain area now, and right. They're feeling the pressure, and they also are feeling that they don't have any choice. They had all these choices before. They could get away with certain things. There's nothing they can get away with. I believe that the money has come to an end, because I know that the White House have cut their bank accounts off. They can't access certain things. They don't have the money that that people think they do. And this is the thing with the Epstein list and all that stuff. It hasn't been out. And I would say there's an atomic bomb that they're holding. And I don't mean it's literally a bomb, but they're holding something that's not getting that list, because there's that chess game, Mm-hmm. So my thing is like, why isn't the list out? Because there's something they got, and we're going to find out. And once we find out, because they don't want this. That's the last process that they can pull anything, because after that, everything goes. Once everything goes, the left has completely lost. So when you're desperate, you're going to pull that last card. And I think that Epstein Island list, and there's something they're using as an advantage. And I don't think it's they've been told to stand down until, I'm sure the military is doing an operation. Whatever they're trying to track down, whatever they're trying to dismantle, it's going to show. But people are like, why don't you release the list? That list is it. After it's out, they're going to hunt them down.
Of course they are.
Everything.
Yeah. If they haven't already got them. Some of them.
Exactly. So the whole thing is, and we think it's just a matter of releasing it. But they know that was going to come. They know that they had it. So they're like, well, here's our dark card. If you release this, we're doing, these avenues. So we don't know, and we'll know at the end of the situation. And I'm not surprised, because first thing you're going to do is blame the government. But the military is all about protection. But also, look at today's a big day for me, because I recognize for Putin and Trump, and Spirit goes, didn't we tell you everything had to be at peace?
Right.
That's a big indication of things that had to be done. Peace had to be agreed upon in every way. And universally, peace had to be rang in. So after that agreement, that handshake, that development, then there's a process of working together and getting everything done. And like Spirit said, keep your eyes, literally watch Putin's eyes. And they said, he's going to save humanity in a different way. And we have to pay attention to that, because not for what the media is telling you. That meeting today is a big deal. So, and that's what I feel about that list. I'm like, they're holding some type of bomb. They're like, hey, we're not giving this up. And if you give that list, we're done. They know they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're going to fight to the very end and find some way. But I guarantee you the military is ahead of the game. So I guarantee you military ops is going on with that. Whatever that they're holding as ransom in the way that they're doing it, I believe, like I said, we call it a nuclear bomb, a threat, whatever. And then also, I think it's very curious how they got the astronauts down to Earth, out of orbit too, because you don't know how it's affecting. We don't look at this as a universal thing that can be affected, but it is. So you got two things that happened today. So I'm waiting for some type of chain effect of a reaction, because it's like everything's building up, with energy. It's building up to a certain point that everything's just going to blow. And I mean information. If there's a point that it's going to happen. And then the pieces are going to be scattered everywhere. And then the reality is going to hit. And then the hard fall comes. So, and that is when I said that the military knows their biggest problem is the trickle effect of the left, the mental breakdown. Their reality isn't the reality. They're not given a choice. You know what I'm saying? So that is unpredictable on their behavior. So that's what's going on. So, so we're building up to these big situations. I mean, Putin being here, having that agreement, but arresting and taking those gang members back down to where they belong is a big deal. And to do that,
yes,
Trump has more power than you think, because if they would have had an advantage already, they would have been in court. This whole thing with this judge has no power. He has no power to do anything. He can't force anything. No one cares, So that's what I'm saying. It's all a game that's coming to an end. We're at the final chess piece where something's going to get checkmate. And that's what's happening. So when that checkmate it goes dark. When it goes dark, then that's what I'm hearing. Spirit says, the cries, the screams, the reality. There's no internet. There's no TV. There's no news for them to daily function and get their programming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're in themselves, functioning on their own mindset. It's a different junkie in a different way of how they're getting their information. They're not thinking. This is the thing. They're not thinking on their own. People think they are thinking on their own. They're not. You take them away. You take those away from them.
Right.
You're going to see a major dismantling process happening. When that happens, what are they going to do? Set things on fire, do stupid stuff, suicide, all this stuff to get attention, to react, to get a reaction in any way, because on anything, and they want to tell you, it's already coming. You ever see, and I'm just saying this on the police, they pull over these young program adolescents, and they literally will fight and complain like they have the right to. And then when they come down to the decision that they are really not going to get their way, they freak out, like the deranged syndrome. When they hear the name Trump, they go ballistic. It's like they don't even realize their reality of their consequences. That's not a concept in them no more. So
that's the sad part.
Yeah.
I think there's not. Yeah.
So the government, the Democrats, programmed them into this, raised them into this through education, the medical facilities, programming the parents, everything around it is programmed into it. And now the deep state don't care. They're going to let it fall where it needs to, completely. And it's going to crash and it's going to burn. And then the only ones that are going to have to pick it up is us. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And people are not seeing that.
That's more fire that we need to walk through.
If you saw it for one day of no cell phones throughout the world, you would get a taste of it, how bad it would be. Just that one day. And he would be like, oh my gosh, I'm not coming out of my house. They're just losing it.
Right.
And so 3 days, and that's why I'm saying 3 days of darkness brings that into that balance. And once that balance comes in like this, us, the X generation, all that, they're going to stand guard. They're going to be pretty aware. They're not going to be putting up with anything at that time. So, I mean, and I think the government knows it's coming. They know it's coming. But you have to understand, they just took out, you got to see, they've been cleansing the United States, pushing them out, getting the ones that can harm us, getting them out. The dirtiest that they can be, they're out. I want you to look at the process of doing this, getting as many as they can in their own country and isolating them. When are they going to shut down the borders? When those borders start to shut down, that's telling you it's coming. That's what I'm saying. Because they're not going to let anybody in once this gets to that point of process, because you shut your doors when you don't want the enemy in.
Right. And they took out a lot. It's not like they took out a few. They took out a lot. I saw the videos. They were crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Lots of white buses.
Bad. Yeah, all the white buses.
Yeah.
So no communication, in any way, because I'm just telling you, like I said, you might see people in some zombie mode, or they can't function. They can't. I mean, there's an addiction watching the media, because they look towards the media as the truth.
Right. Well, that's the program.
That's the whole thing.
They're still programmed into it.
Right.
That's where the information comes from. That's where we're told everything.
Right. Exactly. So pushing them all out, getting them where they need to be. And I think the borders are next, shutting the borders down. Okay. And then can make that big move of bringing that in. So, because you're going to have to isolate that whole process, because they're not going to wanting them to react. So whatever advantage they are using with the Epstein list, I think that's going to come to an end here soon.
Okay.
And you're going to see educators hauled off to jail. Doctors hauled off, to jail. Judges, attorneys, they're all going to jail. They're going to jail, and a lot of people don't think it's going to happen. Well, I'm just telling you, we're at these phases that it can now, in every way. So, so the whole process of this is, there's a lot going on, and we have to look at it. How do you protect your own home? I mean, the first thing, you're going to seal things up, make sure nothing can get in if you're going to change something. So whatever you're going to do, it's going to be protected. So when this happens, this golden age flips over, they can't allow anybody in until it's at full capability. And then I think there's a different security that's going to form over this whole situation. I mean, if they don't think that Elon Musk saw this coming, they're crazy. He knows.
Oh, of course he knows.
He's smart enough to know they're going to react in a different way, because, his cars, his dealership, all that stuff. I mean, it's obvious this guy don't care about money. And I'm sure he's well protected in what he has to do to keep it protected. But he saw it coming. Because what they do is they react, and that's what they're doing to his dealerships. They're reacting to what they can't control. We can't control you. We can't pull you from that position, and you're hurting our people that have broke the law. So the only way we know how to do is burn something break something, dismantle something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole process with this.
Yeah.
So the next step with that, with him, I'm like, he's in charge of the DOGE. You know what's going to happen next? Cash. It's time to arrest people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Civilians. They're not going to get away with it. I'm just saying, so we're all at that certain level that you're seeing everything getting isolated and contained. So we're at these guardian doors now, where we have to stand, and you're seeing like, okay, we're in kind of a war. We are in a war, guys.
Multi-level kind of war.
Sorry, she wants to go play because she's in heat.
Oh.
No matter what she wants to, someone arguing today, big time about not going outside. So that's the whole thing. I mean, you got to look at, now we're looking at these chess moves that are coming in. You know what I mean? And then you see the reaction, and then another chess move, and then another reaction. So we're down to that tight area, and then when's that green light, just to hit that green light, and everybody that they feel is a threat is not around, then we can establish and bring in the golden age. That's the whole thing. No. So that's why everything has changed. You know, we're at the final battlegrounds. We're in the battlegrounds.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing that I see. Spiritually, mentally, physically. The left has no more options. They're on desperation tricks. That's all they can do. Right. It's all desperation stuff now. And you know, they're the first ones. They want to decide to paint their chest. Oh my gosh, the desperation of, you know, these are the people we avoided in high school, wouldn't even talk to, because of what they would do, right. You know, and here they are again. So, and doing the same thing to get the attention. And so I'm just telling you, there's a level of things that's going to happen once it flips. Mm-hmm. They're all going to jail.
Yeah.
And so
they're all what?
Because no one's paying them now. Right. They're not getting money. You know, there's no one. And then when this system comes in, because I told you the quantum system's on a conscience of knowing your true intention. So wait till you start to see the ones that will not get money at all. Watch that whole process of that flip out, of that, why don't I get money? Because you are a citizen that went against our country, and we're not paying you. We want to lock you up and put you through a program so you won't be a threat to society. So there is an epidemic for the mental process in this. There's going to be an epidemic of that. But we're not looking at that. But it's at our door. It's at our door. You don't know what people will do. Well,
then
it's crazy.
They know. I mean, it's like you say, it's the big 5D chess game. They do know what's going on. I'm sure they know what to expect from some things. They must have something set up in the background for such individuals.
Yeah, and that's where the 17 cities and the isolation areas and putting them in there, because they have to have them in somewhere to put them, to contain them. Mm-hmm. Then after they do this filter process, I mean, I showed you a picture yesterday. I mean, it was a lib that got her boobs removed, and you can tell she hadn't taken a bath in weeks, because you know when the acne breaks out on your chest and everything else. Right. I mean, we found it very confusing, because it's a sickness.
Right.
Anything they can do to scar up their body, give them attention to their body, disfigure anything else. I mean, they're being used very well. And then the media will allow it on there in that process. So what I'm saying is those type of people, after this goes down, they're in a different type of a risk. on the situation.
Right.
So, and then you already see that the Shepherd took away their funding for doing operations, procedures, and not giving it to the state. It's like, no more. So that stopped. So all these people that were on these hormone drugs and all that stuff, what phase are they at? They're in the middle now,
Yes.
right? They're in the middle phase. They're like, you can't get this now. And now we've already processed your body into a certain level of being a male, and now we can't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what that does?
Of course.
I mean, kids are probably out there. It's horrid.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need some kind of assistance, especially the kids who transfer into the, getting the testosterone. That changes the attitude. That changes
Right.
that anger pops up a lot.
Right.
So,
it does.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing is, you have the ones that the state pushed to do this, and then you have the ones that have been actually trying to get the procedure done for many years, and now they're all grouped up in one area now, and then it's cut off for a while. So I mean, yeah, it's a dismantling in many ways, but it has to be filtered the right way. You can't mutilate your children. That's what they're doing. The deep state mutilated them. But, and the whole thing, and they don't care. They didn't care because you can already see what they've done with how they've hunted them and sold them and did everything else. They have no compassion.
Mm-hmm.
If they can do that, they can do anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this whole process, she's in heat. She just wants to go outside. Go. Not happening.
I'm sure they don't mind the noises.
Sorry, but no, you're not going outside to go find a fellow. Please. So, that's the, and that's the whole process with this is, it's a sad thing, but, we're not looking at this. What's going to happen with this situation when things go down?
Mm-hmm.
Things is going to go down. Oh no, it's not going to be easy. So I think everybody in the government is getting ready for this process that's going on, and so we want things done. But you're going to see a different situation that's going to occur in many ways, and then you don't know when the deep state is completely done and they're running. I wonder how the government's going to keep everybody in their homes, because when they're after somebody and they use another civilian as a shield or whatever, when they're, because there's layers of those people that have to be contained.
Mm-hmm.
They don't got everybody.
Yeah.
And they're hiding in universities now. They're hiding in Minnesota, in the city, St. Cloud. I mean, they're there. I mean, and they think they're safe there until, Walmart is a psych ward. Yep, exactly. So, it's just a process that we kind of have to get through on this situation. So, like I said, the Epstein, there's a checkmate. It's coming, but whatever they're using, they haven't released it. But I guarantee you, when they release it, it's going to be everywhere. So, the enemy is not going to go down without a fight, because they have nothing left spiritually,
no,
mentally, physically. There's nowhere to go on all dimensions. They're in trouble. I mean, so here we are. We're in this age of changing, and it's not a good situation to be in, but we have to get through it.
Right.
I mean, we have to push the green line. We have to flip the debt. We have to flip everything, because if people, you need to look around. Every part of your government is being dismantled. And I don't feel sorry for those employees that are working for the government that looked the other way and they knew what they were doing. I don't care.
Oh yes, I agree. If you look,
had
if
no
you knew,
conscience. Yeah. You had no conscience. Now go work at McDonald's like the rest of us had to, or get paid a minimum wage, because you sat there and witnessed and watched them rip us off. I mean, we paid for everything in the damn world.
yeah,
We, Americans, have paid for it all. Our blood, our sweat, our tears is what paid for everything in this whole world. Everybody needs to get off our tit.
yeah.
Period. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You might as well put a cow up there with American flag, and they're all sucking underneath. And because that's the truth.
It is. It is. I'm sure someone will.
That's
come
what
up
they're
with that.
doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole thing. They are what they're doing, you know. And so, because they're so used to it happening, to call it out a truth, people think it's insulting. That's a program on its own.
Right.
So the best way to handle something, and I'm going to tell you guys, you know, I used to be a project coordinator. I took behavior-based programs and all this stuff and how to deal with HR and all that stuff. I'm just telling you, the best way to deal with something like this, you have to look it in the face and you have to take away what they want. You have to show them the reality. They have to hit the floor hard. Well, they're hitting the floor hard. And these are adults. But it's so, there's no empathy or sympathy for what they've done to the American people. And this is what they don't understand. On a spiritual side of this, that karma is coming.
Oh, yes.
These Americans that blood, sweat, and tear, and I think Ireland is another one that's going through a process too, which is highlighted, which is good, is the fact that our abundance is coming. And they're going to think, well, how come they get it? Because you've been sucking us dry forever.
Yeah.
That's why. So the whole process of this needs to happen. So, and all these programs that we were helping need to be revamped and looked at things for humanity in a different way. But yeah, I mean, we are one big milking cow system. And we're done giving them milk. We're done letting them suck off of us in every way. We're done. So it's a process now to clean it up. And when he's talking about the swamp, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's just, and like I said, each piece of like Cash and Elon and Trump, they all had to be these strong individuals to hold the door, hold the gate, hold the key, hold the sword, hold the shield. Because if they didn't do that, they tried to beat down the door to get in there because they thought, well, we got to get into that building and get all the evidence that we have against us. No, I'm actually surprised that some buildings have not been burnt because on desperation on that process. So, and that's
It's
the thing.
Coming.
Like I said, you know, and the thing is their lives changing, and when their lives change, you guys, I want you to really think about this as Americans. You've been giving. There's other countries, England, there's people there. There's people in Ireland. There's people in other countries. This is what I want you to think. If you're an individual soul that's been giving your heart and soul into paying into the system, your light is noted. Your fruits are coming because the negative is not going to have any fruits. And Joel Osteen would be another one that's not going to have any fruits because he even denied his people of the. So I'm just saying, I want you to really look to that and understand that it's seen. So everybody in the world that could feel that pain, that suffering, and what the conditions they put us through in the situation. The light can see it. And I'm telling you, it's coming. And the golden age of being rewarded, and those other ones are like they're gonna hide as hard as they can, because they have no way to come out of this, because they know they're guilty.
Yeah.
But the abundance is coming. And that's the whole thing. You know, we're done. We're done with it.
And that's the karma coming both ways. The negative is going to get it back. The positive is going to get theirs back. You just have to
wait till they get into the IRS. Right. Wait till they get into that building. Wait till they start looking at those files and where it's going. And that's the whole process right now. I mean, it is one of those moments where you're just raising your hands going, they fucked us all. They fucked all of us. You know, and I'm just saying, all the time, every day, every hour, they didn't care. There was no morals involved in the situation. We haven't even started with the churches.
Right.
We haven't even got into the churches.
That even CPS, forget
it.
Wait till that comes out.
Right. You know, it's everywhere. That's the whole thing. And so, like I said, this is what I remember Spirit saying. They don't look at Trump, they look at it as the enemy, but that's that psychological game. But if you're going to look back at this in history, and you're going to look back and the ones maybe at that time when they read the book and they feel some type of compassion, go, God, that guy held it up, went through all of that so he can save us, whatever being is inside him. But the thing is, it's not an easy road in this process. So we're done being the cow for the whole world. We're done. So our milk is dry. You ain't getting any more. No fresh milk. Nothing. So it's dried up, because they even dried it up, you know. That's the whole thing. So that's where we're at, you know, on this process. Dying today to go outside. There's no way. The dog must be out there. So, you know, and it's time for people to get upset, to look around how bad it is in every category, and ask questions and understand why people are not upset about this. Not at all.
Because they're still watching the TV.
Yeah.
Right?
Hold the power on that one. Completely. Hold the power. Because it's a bad deal on this whole process with this. So it's not right. Not a good thing. But well, it's a shame that he had to leave early. Didn't expect that to happen.
That's okay.
But
you go with it, right?
Yeah. So I think this was a good subject on talking about a little of this. But yeah, you know, there's some type of card being held right now. And once that card is pulled, then you'll see everything fall. Because it's already in the process. So, and I think the start of it is lightning striking down a building, and dismantling phase starts to get the world's attention. Because these storms, people are getting so used to them, it's not even, you know, mentally affecting them anymore. They're coming to understand that it's part of it. So some type of hammers coming in a different way. That checkmate, I feel, is coming.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to see soon. So while we're here, we'll do the bell.
Okay.
So we'll get that done since it is about the kids.
Yep. Just let them know. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick minute for the bell so we can quiet the chat for a few. And if you got a bell, feel free to ring it. Please quiet. Okay. Thank you. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, that was interesting.
Thank you.
So I'm waiting for that card to play, and we'll see what happens. And then you'll see that Epstein file spread everywhere.
All right. Can't wait.
So we'll see. So you guys have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Stay in the light.
Okay. Thank you.